straight, all even. Stop there. There's nothing better. Oh my God, I get excited, but not sexually. If I'm caning somebody, oh my God, there's nothing more gratifying than just looking at your work when you've got those welts that are all straight, all even. Stop there. There's nothing better.
Sherry, whereabouts are you based?
Swindon.
How did you get here today?
My slave brought me. One of my slaves, my lifestyle slave, brought me.
What does that involve, being a lifestyle slave?
Well, it means that he doesn't pay tribute, but he's at my beck and call. So he doesn't have a choice with anything. He wears a collar. It's stainless steel with my name on it, and it's got a padlock, and I've got the key.
What do they get out of wearing a collar? What is the kind of appeal, do you think, for those people?
I think it's because it makes them feel owned, like my slave is owned by me, and he likes the world to know. Not an awful lot will wear a collar all the time like he does, but it makes him happy, and it certainly makes me happy.
Tell me a bit about what life was like growing up for you, Sherry.
I was born in Gibraltar because my father was in the forces. So we travelled around a lot, and then I was sent away to boarding school. I qualified as a hairdresser, and then I did some modelling. Then I had my first marriage. That was definitely a mistake, and shortly after we split up, he died. The second marriage, he was very controlling and abusive. And the third marriage, he was mentally abusive and controlling, had lots of affairs. And I was a bit like a shrinking violet. I kind of allowed him to control me because I don't think I'd ever had the chance to bring out the real me. So I had no idea that I had a dominant side. Back then, I was like a dowdy little dormouse.
And now?
And now I'm not. Now I'm far from being a dormouse.
How old were you at that point, and how did you then get from that point to getting involved in your work as a dominatrix?
I think I was 59 when he left. It was a huge shock, so it took me a while to get over it and come to terms with it. I did actually just take to the sofa and stayed there for nearly 3 months. And then when I kind of pulled myself together, I realised I had to do something. I was working part-time as a chef, but I wasn't earning enough. So I knew I had to do something. And I was watching the television, flicking through the channels one night, and I came across this documentary about phone sex. And I thought, oh my God, I can do that. And so I asked my children, I said, look, how do you feel about me doing this? They've always been really, really supportive. And they all said, well, my youngest son did say, Mum, I've only got to say the word sex and you go bright red, which was true at the time. And I said, well, I'll get over that, which I did. And so that's how it sort of began. I found a company I liked and they took me on. And I did that for quite a while. And then I started to realise that I would say about 90% of calls wanted some sort of domination. One night I went downstairs, because I always worked upstairs in my bedroom because I didn't want anyone to hear. But I used to go downstairs to get coffee or something like that. And I remember saying to my daughter about the domination thing. And she said, you're doing it for peanuts on the phone, why don't you do it for real? That was it. Yeah. So that's how I kind of started.
And tell me a bit about setting up your work as a dominatrix. What happened from there, and what was your first client?
I don't like the word client, so they're either sissies, slaves or subs. A lot of DOMs do call them clients. It's just that I've got this thing that that means that I'm giving a service, and it's too close to sexual, even though if you go into a hairdresser's, you're a client. But I don't know, with what I do, I'm just very aware that I want people to understand that this is not a sexual thing. And so every little thing that I think, oh, I don't know that sound, I change it.
And why do you call them sissies, slaves, subs?
Well, sissies are because they like to dress up in a little pink, fluffy, frilly dress and do the housework. They're maids. They're whatever they want to be, really. So apart from the fact that they like to be dressed as sissies, they like to be humiliated as well. So that's why they're called sissies. Subs are submissives, so they're not quite slaves. They're just submissives because they like to sort of be submissive to you, on their knees, doing whatever, cleaning your boots. Whereas slaves are more, it's more like the gimp type thing where they do as they're told. They don't have a choice in stuff, and so it's just that slight difference between them.
What was your first experience of being a dominatrix? Do you remember who the first person was, and what was it like for you kind of stepping into that world?
Okay, the first one I ever got, it was actually one of my callers, and he was a sissy. And he asked if he could come down for a weekend from London. So he came down, he was very, very handsome, turned up in a really nice suit and took me out for dinner, and let's call him Martin. And he was Martin when we went out to dinner, very confident. We went out for dinner, came back, and then he asked if he could go and get changed. So he went up and I said to Amy, "He'll come down dressed as a maid now." Well, he didn't. He came down in a little pair of black leather shorts and a big thick collar. I mean, my eyes must have been popping out of my head because that's not what I was imagining. And so I knew I was sort of just dumbfounded because I suddenly heard Amy say, "Right, go in the utility and empty the machine and hang it out." And he went into the utility and Amy said, "Pull yourself together, Mum." And so he came in with the washing, my dryer had packed up, so he was hanging it on this thing. And my daughter was looking at me and trying to mouth something to me, and I couldn't see. I was saying, what? And suddenly realised she was saying, "He's got a semi." And she was right. He did have a just hanging washing up. What the hell? Anyway, he finished that, and then he said, "May I go and get changed?" And I said, "Yeah, OK, off you go." And I said to Amy, "He'll come down this time as a sissy maid, and then he can start cleaning." He didn't. He came down in this little red number, see-through little baby doll thing, and came up, got on his knees and started kissing my feet. Don't forget, I was a total novice to this, and I felt really embarrassed. I looked at Amy and she was looking and going, "Oh, God, what," you know. And then he had a lipstick in his hand and he said, "Could you put my lipstick on, please, mistress?" So I did that.